Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to we're gonna look at the markers of a runway. The reason I'm recording this video is because I was also curious about all those markers. What do they mean on the runway? And since I'm not, I would say, a hobby pilot or an official pilot, I dived into some resources and will now explain what all those markers are meaning. So we start with the stripes at the start of the runway. You can see 6 on each side here. And based on that, you can figure out what the width of the runway is. So in case of 2 times the 6 arrows, that means that it's 150 feet or 45 meters width. There are some, I would say, other options, right? So you've got also 4 stripes in total, 6, 8, 12, which we just discussed, and 16. 16 is the, I would say, has the largest width, which is 200 feet or 60 meters, and the 4 stripes is 60 feet or 80 meters. So those are the first stripes which we're discussing. Then we've got the number. And you might think, hey, where are those numbers coming from? Well, there's a logic explanation for it. The runway is actually the degrees on your compass of the runway. So in this case it says 90, which means it's 190 degrees. If you would say park your aircraft in the middle and then look at the compass, you will figure out the same. So that's where those numbers are coming from, right? So in this case we're on runway 19, but there are other runways over there, which I will show you are completely different. Then there's the magic zone, which is called the touchdown zone, which has the aiming point. So the touchdown zone starts here, and then it's pretty long, and then we see 2 large stripes here, or large blocks. And these large blocks are the touchdown zone markings. So ideally you should, I would say, touchdown here. And this is in most cases also the mark for the runway. So this is approximately 1000 feet from the runway threshold. Continuing this line, you will see other lines like the 2 blocks, and then they will finally go to 1 block. And we'll speed up the camera a bit. You see 1 block here, and then also 1 block here, and that's where the touchdown zone ends, as far as I could find. But going back to the start of runway, because there are some other runway types, which we will have a look at in a few minutes. Because based on the markers on the runway, you're also able to tell which kind of approaches you can do for these runways. So in this case, runway 19 has a lot of characters, as you can see. So it has the touchdown zone, it has the landing designator, it has the center line, the threshold, the aiming point, and the touchdown zone, and the edge markings, which means that this runway is suitable for precision approach. And precision approaches are approaches with vertical guidance lower than 0.75 status mile visibility. So while flying over the airport, let's go to another runway, because in this case this airport has multiple runways, but also multiple types of runways. And here we can, for example, see runway 22, but also runway 33. You can see runway 22, it has also 3, 6, 12 stripes, and in this case runway 33 also. But there's a difference here, which I will show you. So let me turn around and then let you first have a look. So you might observe some of the things. Right, the first thing is that the touchdown zone, which we saw initially on runway, what was it, 19, is not visible here, but the large blocks are here. You can see large blocks are here. You can see them. Runway 22 also has them, which means that this runway is or can be used for non-precision approaches. In that case, the approaches with vertical guidance not lower than 0.75 statute mile visibility. So that's already a lot of information, right? Only this about runways. In this case, runway 22 and the other one, runway 33. What does it mean again? This one has, if you look at the compass, you are at 340 degrees and this one at 220 degrees. And to show you that, let's go into the aircraft. Let me remove parking brake. Come on. And then I will show you.
Contact flaps.
Yeah. Always be careful, right? Don't do this. Normally request permission to take off. I didn't do that, to be honest, because I just want to show you this piece. So you see we're at runway 19. Turn a little bit further. So if we would now, let's say, stand in the middle of the runway, which is identified by the middle markers, so the middle stripes. How do we do that? So here. And then when we would look at the compass, you would see that it's... come on. It's the compass. Let me do it with the mouse. It's easier. So we can either use this one, right? It's approximately at 190 degrees. Here it says, what was it? It's easier to show it here. Here it says 181, but I think we're not completely at the center. And there's also, if you're in between, it rounds up to the next whole number, as far as I understood. So that's all kind of cool information, right? This information really helps you to, I would say, get a lot of information about the runway, which me also was completely unaware about it, what all those stripes are meaning. But actually, when flying around, you're able to figure out, okay, hey, this runway can be used for this approach, this for this is the aiming point. In some cases, the PAPI lights are helping you a bit, right? Because they will tell you, okay, hey, you're on the correct light slope, yes or no. So what are other markers in this case on this airport? Well, let's have a look at the runway where we are. So let me speed up the camera a bit so we can fly a little bit faster. Because we're seeing a lot of markers here, right? So for example, here we see, let me zoom in a bit. 19, and then we also have 19 here. These are the places where you need to, I would say, hold and then contact the tower and then request permission to take off. Once you've got permission, you can drive on the runway or taxi to the on the runway and then take off. Of course, you first need to check or make sure that you perform the checklist. What are other things? Well, you can see all kind of yellow lines on the taxiway, and those are simply the taxi routes. In some cases, you see that also some arrows are there. So, for example, here you can see that this line is for traffic coming from this direction, and if you are leaving the runway, you can either go by that way or by the other way. But that depends on a lot of stuff, because if you're contacting ground and, for example, ask permission to go to the runway or to the gates, you will be given a lot of information, right? So you see the signs here. So as 33 till 15, that tells us, okay, hey, we're passing runway 33 and 15, which means that 33 is on that side and 15 is on that side. And the same thing is here, but there are also other symbols, depending on, or signs I should say, depending on the aircraft, or not aircraft, airport where you are. For example, if it says, hey, you need to pass via Lima, then you know, hey, this is Lima. If we would go back, this is Sierra. And if we would go back further, you would see that, where is it? Here still is Lima. And if we would cross a bit further, let's see if there's another one. Here's Mike. And I think there was another one here. Foxtrot. So always read the instructions well and then follow the signs. I know it can be pretty difficult, especially if you are not, I would say, known on the airport. And in this case, right, as you can see, it's already a big airport, but this is not one of the biggest. There are far larger airports in Flight Simulator, so be aware of that. So here's where this video ends. Hope you liked it. We discussed what the markers on the runways are meaning. So use it in your advantage when playing Flight Simulator. If you like the video, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then please put them below the video in the comment box. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.